After testing dozens of GPUs over the years and a handful this year, I feel like I have a pulse on what makes a video card worth it. But there's one specific model for only $100 that I think can breathe life into your gaming setup. And you know what else can breathe life into your new gaming setup? The Beard Hedger beard trimmer from Manscaped. Who are you? Don't worry about that. The Manscaped. Wait a minute, hold on. What makes you think that you can just insert a sponsorship into my video? Because I'm you and this is my channel. But I'm me. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Don't think about it too much. I mean, how do I know that this product is even good? Feel your face. Feel my face. Oh, that's smooth. The Beard Hedger from Manscaped is a great trimmer and shaver. Manscaped sent one about a month ago and I've fallen in love since then. Not only is it powerful enough to cut through my thick Nigerian hair.
Oh wow, that's so smooth.
But it also comes pre-installed with a guard that can switch between 20 different lengths. So I don't have to carry multiple different guards anymore. There's no bulky power cord, it's waterproof, and has a runtime of up to about an hour. So whether you've had a beard for decades or you're just beginning to grow one, I totally recommend the Beard Hedger trimmer. So go to manscaped.com and you can get 20% off plus free international shipping if you use my code OzTalksHW at checkout. That's 20% off plus free international shipping with the code OzTalksHW. Thank you so much, Manscaped, for sponsoring. Please, guys, make this worth it because I shaved my entire beard for it. Thanks. The GPUs I want to talk about today are the GTX 1660 series, and this includes the TI version, the Super version, and the regular version. And these cards are such phenomenal value because you can get them for about $90 to $110 on eBay right now, cheaper locally, and they offer almost every single benefit that you could want from a card of this price. Firstly, the 1660 series only consumes about 120 watts of power, which makes it a great candidate for an office computer PC upgrade. Or if you have a cheaper gaming computer with a weaker power supply, this video card can slot right in there without an issue. You also save money on your electricity bill, and you also have less heat that you need to dissipate, so just overall a more pleasant experience while gaming. Nvidia still supports these cards officially, and that means that you will get game-ready drivers for new titles like Black Myth Wukong or God of War, for example. And considering that Nvidia still supports GTX 900 cards, you don't have to worry about your card being unsupported for some time. The 1660 series also supports mesh rendering, which is a new technique that dramatically improves gaming performance. In games that use it, of course. I won't go into detail on how this works because it's a semi-complex process, but Linus Media Group actually has a video explaining it at a high level. But what you need to know is that in games that actually support it, like Alan Wake 2, you will be happy that your video card has the hardware necessary to run it. And lastly, the 1660 series uses Turing NVENC. And this is more of a sleeper hit, but it really makes the card in this series an all-around great contender. NVENC is Nvidia's encoder, and you can only run it if the video card itself has the hardware necessary. It makes it easier for your computer to record footage, render videos, and stream. And the Turing encoder is noticeably better than Nvidia's previous generation, so the GTX 10 series and 900 series, and noticeably better than AMD's RX 5000 series. Now I gotta be real with you guys, this card is great, but it's not without its downfalls, and the major one is the VRAM. It only has 6 gigs. Now that's not gonna be enough to actually prevent you from opening up a game, like with some 4GB models out today, but it's going to force you to at least turn down some settings, and it's going to limit the future-proofness of this video card. Alan Wake 2, for example, uses about 7 gigs of VRAM at 1080p on the lowest settings. So we've already crossed the boundary of 6GB not being enough in certain games, so that's going to show its age fairly soon. Thankfully though, right now, the 1660 Super plays games extraordinarily well for the price. Apex Legends is one of the most popular games out there, and it's not a sweat at all for the 1660 Super, even with a budget processor like the Ryzen 5 3600. We're using the very low preset, to be fair, and that's why we're averaging near 200 frames per second. But this gives you an idea of the breathing room the video card has with higher settings. Very playable and lots of fun. It's a similar story in New World. Because it's an MMORPG, it's heavier on the processor, but even in an open PvE area, the system averages around 90 frames per second with low settings. The 1660 is being utilized here fully, and it's still staying pretty cool at only 65 degrees Celsius. Fortnite has gotten surprisingly harder to run over the years, but it still does a decent job on the 1660 Super. Using low settings in DirectX 12 mode, we're in the mid to upper 100 FPS range on average. It's definitely enough for a fun, casual game with friends, and with some settings tweaks, you can try your hand at some light competitive play as well. And we end things off with Hogwarts Legacy. The game runs smoothly, which is what you want in a single-player RPG game. With low settings and XeSS quality, we're seeing almost 100 FPS on average. That's more than enough for a local single-player story game. This means we can probably get away with medium settings and still have a great experience. And then my favorite part about all of this is that you can actually build yourself an affordable 1080p gaming computer around these cards. It has a Ryzen 5 3600, a 512 gig SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, and all of the parts you can actually find on Newegg, Amazon, AliExpress, and eBay. As a matter of fact, the gaming performance that you saw is actually based on these specs, so you have confirmation that it'll be great for 1080p gaming. And the even cooler part is that you can build an even cheaper computer, and it'll still play games. The low power consumption of the 1660 series really helps it out here because you can just pop it into an older office computer and it'll work just fine. If you buy an office computer with a quad core or 6 core, 8 gigs of RAM for $100 or less, and you pop this in there, then you have yourself a $200 computer that will at least get you off the ground. And this HP compact computer is a prime example of exactly what I mean. I've used this with an RTX 3050 and it'll work with a 1660 and it just functions really, really well. So on screen I'll have a list of pre-built computers that I recommend that I've used personally or have researched well enough and I'm confident that they will work well with the 1660 and they'll be around $120 or less on a website like eBay. So the 1660 series are great $100 cards or less. And they're obviously not a perfect solution, but I think they check off too many boxes for me to not recommend them to people. Now there are other alternatives / an honorable mention list, the GTX 1070, 1070 Ti, or the RX 5600 and 5600 XT from AMD, but I still think that when it comes to compatibility, performance, power consumption, availability, and price, the 1660 series still just takes the cake. All around, just a great card to recommend. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you guys found it useful, then leave a like, and if you loved it, share and subscribe. Thank you again so much, Manscaped, for sponsoring this video and making my shaving experience so much better. Make sure you use the code OzTalksHW at checkout to get 20% off your next beard hedger trimmer. Please do it. I'm bald now on my face for this. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.